kind of advice do you have to homeowners?
Practicing that preparedness. Starting the conversation now is always going to be a benefit to any association out there.
Welcome to Recovery Report Live. I'm Dan Odess, President of GlobalPro, where we manage risk to recovery, and we have managed more than $1 billion in recovery. I'm here in the studio with our special guest, but before we get there, I want to run through a few things, some information you can use as policyholders, whether you're a community association or a business owner. This is something important to know, something to remember. When you have claims, it doesn't directly impact your rates. I know a lot of brokers out there are peddling this idea that if you make the claims, your rates are going to go up. And I'm talking about property insurance rates. I'm talking about builder-owner insurance policies. I'm talking about those types of insurance where you have a physical property or an asset that suffers loss or damage. If you've suffered loss or damage and you recovered for those damages and you rebuilt, what could you possibly do to that asset or that property to make it any more riskier than it was prior to the loss? Nothing other than uprooting that foundation and sticking it, let's say, maybe in the Florida Keys where there may be more flooding, lightning strikes, or hurricanes, whatever it may be. That's really all that changes the risk evaluation. If you want to try to prove me wrong, go ahead. So shoot me an email, let me know your thoughts on it. I'd even invite you to come on the show to talk all about why rates go up because we make claims on our property. I'm not seeing it. My clients aren't experiencing it. I have clients that don't file claims for 20 years. Suddenly they suffer a loss. The insurance company turns their backs on them. I go in there, I look at their rates. I've seen them, they've gone up or they didn't change. We go in, we reassess it, we collect the money, they don't see a rate increase, maybe the rates go down, who knows, but I've seen that situation. I've also seen it where associations will file 20 claims in a year, and suddenly they don't get paid on a claim. We go in there, we do an analysis, and I start looking back 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years at their insurance policies, and I've been doing my own analysis too because I'm hearing brokers peddling this idea that if you make claims, your rates are going to go up, or if you make a claim, I can't get you a proposal or a quote. And I'm telling you right now, it's nonsense. I have the facts, I have the information to back up what I'm saying. It does not make sense. We keep hearing more about it. What's happening, though, is on the legislative level, you do have, obviously, insurance companies pushing for rate increases. Rate increases due to costs of, mostly due to the cost of reinsurance. Mostly has nothing to do with the actual claims, even though you are hearing a lot of insurance companies make arguments regarding the increased cost of litigation, et cetera, but at the end of the day, it's the cost of the reinsurance which seems to be driving up the cost of insurance. Ironically, a lot of those reinsurance companies are continuously reporting billions of dollars in profits. So again, going back to my earlier statement where I'm talking about this issue regarding rate increases and their direct connection between making claims. Try me, come into the studio, let's talk about this issue. Let's talk about why you believe there's a direct connection between making those claims and rates going up, because we're not seeing it. I've had associations recover tens of millions of dollars and then get a renewal from that same insurance company at a flat renewal rate, or maybe sometimes even less costs. Even in a tough, hardened market like this, I have insureds that are experiencing losses and still getting marginal increases. I have associations that have no claims or getting huge rate increases. Again, I think it has a lot more to do what's going on in the market than it has absolutely almost nothing to do what's going on your property there. Now, if you're in the business of making claims and you're not actually making repairs, well, I wouldn't want to insure you either. But I'm not seeing a direct correlation between making claims and rates going up, even though I'm hearing a lot of brokers peddling this idea. We've represented over 1,000 community association business owners. We are analyzing these policies every day. We want to make sure that you have the information you can use. That's what this show is all about. I challenge any broker out there that's maybe listening to the show, come on, let's talk about this. Bring examples of where you have actually seen it. Bring the letters, but don't just bring 1 year of a rate increase. Bring 3, 4, 5 years of it. Show me, prove to us, prove to our audience that rates are going up for community associations and business owners solely because they made a claim and recovered for their damages. It doesn't make sense if you recover for your damages and you fix the building and your building's 40 years old and suddenly you have the money to do improvements in the property, whether that's through ordinance or law. You're actually going to protect the building from future claims. It's going to be less likely. So you're actually mitigating and reducing the risk of something actually happening. Just think about that. And I'm going to leave I'm going to leave us on that note, and I'm going to shift to our studio here and bring on our guest, because I am excited to have in studio, the Latin Builders Association President, Gus Cabrera. Gus, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's an awesome opportunity to have you. I know I started the show off on an aggressive note, but I'm excited. Just a little bit.
Good. No, thank you for having me. This is great. I feel like I've made it. I'm on the recovery report. This is I'm a fan of the show. We've talked about doing this before, so I'm excited to be here, and thank you for having me. And thank you for being part of the LBA. It's important, and it's great to have GlobalPro as one of our members.
No, GlobalPro it's important to us, obviously, to be a part of the community, and being a contractor, which I am, growing up in the construction business, I've followed the emails, I've looked at your social media for years, and Matt and I, when we were sitting down strategically looking at planning where we're going in the future, we just thought to ourselves, how can we make a bigger impact? We're handling so many insurance claims related to construction, whether they're on-site or off-site. And we understand the leadership at LBA, what you mean to it, all the changes that we have coming. I want to get into all of that stuff, but there's a big reason why we decided to take that leap of faith, join the LBA, be a part of it, as so many other people are. So let's talk about the little bit of LBA, how you got there. Let's start there.
Yeah.
How did you decide on the LBA? Why are you at the LBA, and what has the membership meant to you, and what are you guys looking to, what are you looking personally to gain from being a part of the LBA?
Absolutely. So I think I've narrowed it down to there's approximately 4 reasons or so why people become part of the Latin Builders Association. They're so traditional. We want to have more business. We want to create more business for our companies, right? That's certainly a reason. Second reason is there may be a company that has a tremendous amount of work already on hand, but is looking to raise their profile. They're looking down 2 years down the line to create that pipeline of work, if you will. Another aspect of being part of our association, I think you've known from attending a lot of our events, we do have a lot of good relationships with elected and appointed officials. And sometimes having a conversation with those guys or a meeting can be very time consuming, right? It can take a long time. So what we do is, because we have the fortune of having those folks attend a lot of our events, it allows our members to, I call it rub elbows, but certainly have a conversation with them in a more relaxed setting and get their point across maybe in a more efficient way that it would normally do so if you have to go through the traditional channels. And I think the last point, and really, frankly, my favorite reason for being part of the association is this: the ability to meet different business owners, different individuals that have a different background, really compare notes, understand where the market is going, understand what the market is happening within the market, get a different perspective, and I think we're all better when we work together. I always kind of say that the LBA is kind of like the App Store to Apple, right? Apple doesn't make any apps, but they do create this ecosystem where the developer and the consumer come together to have a transaction or have a connection. And that's what we try to do. We try to foster that ecosystem where companies can share opportunities, get to know each other, and work together.
And I've noticed firsthand, I mean, somewhat like Apple, like once you're in, right?
Right.
You always want the latest and greatest, and you want to be a part of the next event because, in bottom of my heart, like I've probably have never had as much fun as I have had at professional organization events as I have had at the LBA events. I mean, they're just awesome. Everything from the fishing tournament to the other day, we went to a cigar lounge in downtown Miami for a board meeting that ended, always at a cocktail party or hanging out. Very welcoming. You could tell that a lot of people have been around for a long time. I mean, 50 years, right? 50 years?
That's right. Yeah, so the association began in 1971. We just celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. And it's a great Miami story. It began in 1971, a small group of Cuban exiles really trying to rebuild their lives after leaving Castro's Cuba, but finding some barriers in the local market at the time. And they just kind of came together to help one another. And then as the real estate growth began to happen in South Florida, as construction began to happen in South Florida, at the same time the different immigrant waves were coming. Nicaraguans that came in the 70s, Venezuelans that came in the 80s, and New Yorkers that are coming in the 90s and the 2000s, right? Different kind of immigrants that are coming into South Florida. They found this association, our association, as a way to come together and really kind of connect and share ideas and help each other. And to your point, the event the other day, right? It was a cigar lounge, it was relaxed, it was fun. But I can tell you firsthand, there was at least 5 or 6 instances where business was made. An attorney, a zoning attorney speaking with a landowner about a zoning issue in the city of Miami, a developer talking to a contractor about potentially helping him develop X amount of units in a particular project in an area. So those are the types of things. And and I also want to say that beyond just having good events, which I know we have, and good
awesome.
Networking, fun events, we also have a policy side to it, right? We are very aggressively involved in a couple of issues. Permitting being one. Permitting is kind of like the holy grail to developers and contractors, right?
I know firsthand as a contractor.
And we've talked about that a few times. So we are trying to work. And the key is not to push any kind of ideas. We really try to work hard, not only with the administration staff, but elected leaders, to create a more efficient, predictable path to permitting for builders and for contractors. And workforce housing is something that we're leaning into a lot. I think there's a lot of opportunities to really repurpose public land into workforce housing, something that our community needs. Miami just became the most expensive real estate market in the US, surpassing New York. So that is good for some of us that are involved in that business, but certainly some of us who have kids that want to grow up in this town, it could be difficult. And I was looking, I think there's a number, I believe it was last year, $30 billion worth of sales volume in South Florida, in Miami-Dade County. That's a huge number, 30 billion with a B. So, that's so workforce housing is something that we're involved and passionate about as well.
No, I mean, it's the social events obviously are highlights. There's a serious side of it. I think there's a premium on Paradise now, so that's here in Miami. And you got, I think your board and everything that the impact that the LBA are trying to have, and I say your board, now I'm on the board. So I mean, our board are trying to make an impact, whether it's on the government side, on the community, to try to continue to foster growth, but meaningful growth. Obviously, with the premium on Paradise, right? There's a cost to that, and I think the workforce housing obviously is a big issue, but that's really important to the builders and the construction industry, right? To be able to have that opportunity, but how do they access that opportunity? Going through that process, you can learn all about that stuff at the LBA. It's constantly talked about. That's the serious side of it. I've gotten into all these fireside chats at many of the lunches and actually at the cigar lounge. I had a big conversation about workforce housing because we have a property, obviously in Alapata, that we are looking to situate to do that with the huge increased cost of construction and the parking restrictions and things like that. There's so many different hurdles. So, and I've been able to foster some relationships and definitely working directly with you and others there to talk about those issues and try to put them on the table, figure out a way to do that, and that's happening at those social events, but also in the boardroom. And I think that's the flavor that the LBA offers, right? Definitely having fun, but also that serious side of it, and I'm really enjoying it, obviously. Excited to have you in here talking about those things. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the mission of the LBA, but also about you personally. Outside of the LBA, what are you doing, and how is that helping the growth of the LBA, and obviously, and you as an individual?
Certainly. Well, my background, how I come into the LBA is for many years I worked for a company called Mostec, one of the largest infrastructure contractors in the U.S. Public company. It was a 80-hour work week type of project, type of job. But very proud of my tenure at Mostec. Still very close to a lot of the folks that work in that company. So that's that's mostly subterranean contractor, underground type of stuff, infrastructure build. I left them in about 2011. And really with the mindset of just doing some business development consulting, which is really, I believe, one of the things that I'm passionate about, my forte, if you will.
A little bit.
So got into that. I think And there's a saying, in a coal miner's town, everybody has dirt on their face.
Yeah.
Well, our coal is real estate development. So at some point, you will become a real estate developer by definition. So I've done a little bit of that. I certainly participate in some equity investments in real estate, and always keep a close tab on it. The consulting has migrated between business development and governmental consulting. I'm very fortunate to have some real good friends that are elected leaders, and certainly are folks that are elected leaders for the right reasons. They want to help the community. They want to help business. They want to help the residents. So it's good to help them create that path to helping the community.
So as a leader of the LBA, you have real experience. You've experienced it before getting to the LBA. You understand what it takes to actually participate and do these things, and you continue to help a lot of them directly in achieving their goals, whatever it is. So it's awesome to have a leader that actually has experienced it, been on the ground floor doing those things, and it's exciting to see the tremendous growth of the LBA. I've seen so many of my peers over the last couple of years join the LBA, participating, whether they're engineers, contractors, permit expediters, you name it, lawyers, a lot of lawyers join because they're trying to make a positive impact. They're participating in the events too. It's not that they're just throwing out the membership. I sometimes see at some of the chambers and things of that. People join, they get that immediate email blast, and then you never see them show up at the events. Your events are sold out constantly. How do you do it? How do you do it?
I think we've leaned a lot into member value, right? Yeah. So I think nothing, for me anyway, and for a lot, frankly, for a lot of our directors and a lot of our past LBA presidents, nothing is more fulfilling than when two members can kind of come together. They don't know each other prior to becoming members, yet after a short amount of time, not only are they friends, but they're doing business together, and then comparing notes, and they're working together. And if you can multiply that effect over a couple hundred times, you really create a tremendous amount of value. Sometimes our membership is really not that expensive, I believe, and one good deal, one good opportunity kind of pays multiple years worth of membership. So we really try to foster that inter-opportunity development. At the same time, we also try to be very proactive in bringing external opportunities to our association, so our folks can partake. One example of it is our president-elect, Anthony Gomez, participated in the City of Miami Commission meeting this past week, advocating for the renovation and the bond issuance of the Miami Marine Stadium. That's going to have, if that happens, that's going to probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $75 million worth of opportunities. Now, we want to be in that conversation. We want to bring those opportunities for our members to be able to participate in. And that's an example of what we try to do from an external perspective. But our goal at the end of the day, number one goal, hands down, our ethos is member value. How can we make sure that next year, when it's your turn to renew that membership, you do it as quickly as possible with the thought, if I don't do it now, they may raise the price. So that's really what we lean into.
And I wanted to make a comment because, and I think this for our audience out there that are tuning in, if you're in and around related to real estate, you don't have to be a contractor to join the LBA.
Yeah, I say we don't have to be Latin. You don't have to be Latin. You don't have to be a builder.
Exactly.
You just want to be part of this community. We're branded the way we're branded, and we're very proud of our heritage, obviously. But we're a big tent. We have all kinds of members. We have a member from France. Now he's married to a Cuban gal, so pretty much he has no choice.
Yes,
but certainly we have a lot of different members from different sectors. And again, back to my comment about the coal miners town. I think in our community, even if you're in the benefits business, even if you're an attorney, there's chances are the real estate, the construction, the building industry touches you somehow. So that ability to have those conversations, and I think you've noticed in our board meeting, we've tried to create a board that brings that dynamic aspect to it, where we can talk. We even talk about media. We talk about how to communicate better, and things like that. I think it's important to have a wide array of opportunities and exposure for our company.
No, I've seen it firsthand. You talked about the connections and about the business opportunities. I experienced that the other night, where again, we were looking at a project and need some information, start talking to some of the folks, but it expanded into a bigger conversation about what we do here at GlobalPro with the insurance services and things going on. there's a lot of changes coming that are going to impact the construction industry, and you can learn about those things by going to the LBA events. They talk about upcoming legislation, things that are going on, and I think it's an important part of that ecosystem, right? And that ecosystem, like you said, it's a big tent, it's a big ecosystem. There's many service providers, and they all have an opportunity and a place within the LBA, and I think it's been fantastic. It's been incredibly welcoming for us to join. On the insurance services side, we work with a lot of developers, contractors, community associations, and business owners that all are somehow touched by the building community, by real estate, and so I think it's an important part of our growth at GlobalPro. I'm excited to be a part of it. I want to thank you for allowing us to participate.
Absolutely. I'm
excited to have you here, but there's some big events coming up this weekend. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? I'd be remiss if we didn't speak on this one, because it's a big deal for you too, personally.
It's a big deal. It's kind of like the wedding my wife and I never had. It's,
So
we have a...
Dust off your tux. All right.
Hopefully it still fits.
All right.
The Installation Gala is an event that's really a centerpiece for our association, and it takes place every 2 years. And it's the one where the new president, in this case me, gets installed as the president. It also is the event that the board of directors get officially sworn in and installed. So there's a component of that that's also actually our board. We are having this event at the Biltmore Hotel. For my money, the Biltmore Hotel is the most beautiful hotel in South Florida and Coral Gables. So it's going to be a little different than some of the ones we've had before, but I think it's going to be equally as much fun. We'll bring together 600 of our closest friends. We'll have elected leaders, and really looking forward to it. I want to thank our title sponsor is Mostec, my old home. So I'm very proud.
That's nice.
I'm very proud that they participate. Our platinum sponsor is Florida Power and Light, another great corporate citizen company. We even have some wrinkles. We even created our own NFT for the gala, which is funky. I think it's the first sign of the apocalypse when we start getting into NFTs. But we're excited. And I want to just add, if I may, there is an event. Speaking of different exposures, we also have a March luncheon at the end of March, and we're excited to have the new superintendent of Miami-Dade Public Schools, Jose Dotres. If you're familiar with the school board, obviously it governs curriculum for South Florida, but it also provides north of $1 billion worth of work on an annual basis in construction projects, right? So needless to say, a lot of our members grew up doing work for the school board, and a lot of our members still do. So we're excited to hear from them. And to your earlier point, that's part of the exposure that we like to bring to our association, our members. Our March luncheon is going to be very centric to education and higher ed construction throughout the year. But the gala is the focus right now. We are in literally 48-hour countdown. So, but hey,
getting the wedding jitters.
No sweat.
Wedding jitters? No.
No. Coming for the huge amount of coffee I've had today.
I mean, you turned us down a few times in here, so I assumed you had a few cups, but I indulged a little bit before we came on. I'm very grateful to have you on today. I think it's an awesome opportunity for those that are listening in. Whether you touch the industry in any sort of way, whether it's providing insurance benefits, which you mentioned, you're a lawyer, an accountant, whatever it is, awesome place, very welcoming. We've enjoyed the early onset of our relationship with the LBA. We went heavy. We're sponsoring a bunch of events. We're looking forward to our table and hosting our own guests there. Many of which have actually considered the membership, so be aside a little bit. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited, obviously, tomorrow night too. We have a sponsors dinner, so it's going to be awesome. So there's always something going on, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get to. I can't wait for the March thing. I think the transition to school is so important in Miami-Dade, obviously. So important in the ecosystem here in South Florida. A big change, obviously. A little controversial at some points, but I'm excited to see what he has to say and where we're going next. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see what projects they have on for the industry and what's coming up. So Gus, this is awesome, man. Thanks for coming in. We'll have to do this again.
We'll do it again for sure.
We'll do it again.
Love the studio. Love the energy. It's great to have you. And again, we're very proud to have GlobalPro as a member. We look forward to really enjoying ourselves this Saturday. And again, I can't wait to do it again.
Yep. No, we're going to be clinking some glasses and certainly celebrating your installation. So I thank you for our audience for tuning in to Gus here. I'm going to close with some few messages, Gus, and then we're gonna be out of here. This will be live. We're gonna be cutting it up. It'll be all over social media. So we're excited for this gala. I can't wait to be taking pictures with my wife, all done up in the typical Miami way. I'll make sure that I obviously dust off my tux. It's been a while though, man. Getting out of the pandemic, having to do an event, I'm actually excited to finally kind of put it on back again and go out there and do these things.
It could be worse. It could be New York. You're in 20 degrees.
A little cold, right?
It's not bad. So.
All right. Well, that was awesome. It's awesome to have Gus here. Join us in the studio for this Recovery Report Live. I want to thank all of our audience for tuning in this week. As you all know, we're counting down 10 years. We're in our 10th year here at GlobalPro, where we have managed more than $1 billion in recovery. And if you want more information you can use as a business owner or community association, continue to tune in and make sure you hit the like button, follow us. Obviously, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. We want to make sure that you always have what you need. So, same place, same times. We'll see you next week right here on the Recovery Report Live.